if a guy has any problems in their bedroom, he should stop watching porn. Young guys especially, because a lot of young guys, for a start, they're on their phones all the time. TikTok brain is one of the things we call it. And on top of that, you're setting yourself up for failure if you are habitually using. It's like any other vice. That's kind of the way I see it. It's like smoking, it's like drinking, like gambling, whatever. Some people can use it and that's no problem at all. They can do it occasionally. I go to the craps table every now and then when I'm in Vegas to have a good time with my friends out there. And I do that I might do that like once a year and have a good time. It doesn't take over my life. It doesn't ruin my life. And there's some people who can consume content. They can consume it with their partner. They can consume it with their wife. And they can both enjoy it and add a little bit of spice to the bedroom.
Yeah.
And there's other people who can consume it and it will destroy them and it will ruin their life, take away a ton of motivation, take away their drive, their discipline, and just screw up their head. And so I just try to be honest about it, and I try to be as impartial as I can be about it. Because I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy myself when I was in the industry, honestly.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And you're right, because I can only imagine, because I remember when I was a kid, it wasn't as accessible as it is today. I mean, you had the scrambled channels back in the old days, and then you had like the Playboys behind the counter at the gas station. So we had the Sears catalog or something, right? But dude, if I was a young kid now, with everything in my hand, I bet kids are seeing things I didn't see until I was in my 40s. Yep. But I mean, it's so there. And I didn't know this, but again, as I speak to coaches and sexologists, like there's a pandemic, I guess, of young men in their late teens and 20s who are having ED, erectile dysfunction. Yep. Because they just grew up with pleasuring themselves with their phone. And it's gotten so severe. I remember this one woman said, she wanted me to ask you this. I'm going to ask this question because the only way her husband can orgasm is if he watches her through his phone. Like she has to be performing and finishing him off. He has to hold the phone up, look through the phone to see her performing to get off. And it's insane. And she wanted me to ask you, what is the best way from a man's standpoint to bring up this ED problem with a husband or like a boyfriend?
Yeah, I know. It's a rough one too, because coming from her, it's like he already knows he's got a problem. Mm-hmm. It could be like an avalanche, right? If she brings it up in the wrong way, it could make it way, way worse. Mm-hmm. Because now he is even more insecure about it, because he's aware that she's aware and she's aware that, and she's bringing it up to him. It makes it even more insecure and just goes deeper and deeper into his subconscious.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, and it sounds like, this guy definitely needs to fix that for a start. That's definitely a habit thing that needs to be reset. Mm-hmm. From a practical standpoint, I'd say like they need to he needs to kind of reset his brain and reset his relationship towards sex. I mean, if I was going to prescribe him just off the top of my head something to do, I'd say, okay, let's start by going cold turkey on all the pornographic material for a start. Let's try and go cold turkey on social media as well, and like a mobile phone usage, to try and give your dopamine receptors a bit of a reset. Yeah, I'd say give it a few, like maybe like a week with no actual intercourse with your partner, just so you can kind of build up a bit more. Let's say blue ball yourself a little bit, build up that kind of tension, that sexual tension between you and your partner again. And then, from her perspective, one of the things she can do is to, after like a week's break of no sex at all, that first sexual encounter, don't make it like a super like aggressive, graphic type of interaction. Just lay him down, and she can just tease him, and slowly and essentially like increase the stimulation, so that she can basically tease an orgasm out of him. And what that will probably do is completely reset his relationship towards intimacy with his partner. And then of course, then later on you can start getting more aggressive and doing more fun and exciting things. But I think fundamentally he needs to like learn to relax more, because ED is because the erection is a relaxation response. People don't really understand this. Like, your blood vessels have to dilate and relax in order for them to fill with blood, and that's how the chambers in your cause it to expand. All the blood vessels are relaxing, and so it fills with blood, and you get an erection. So you have to be relaxed, in a relaxed state of mind, to do it in the first place. So if you have an erectile dysfunction problem, I mean, if it's a mental side of things, it's actually performance anxiety. That's the two fundamentally different things. But let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just stick with the one definition. He has a relationship towards that is somewhat anxious and tense, and that needs to be changed into a relaxed arousal. And that's where she can definitely help. She can definitely help with the relaxation side of things, and making less performative on his part. and taking the pressure off of him and making it more about him and his enjoyment, and then he can learn to relax and appreciate her presence.
And it's like anybody. Let's say if you're an alcoholic, how do you approach an alcoholic who's got that vice, right? Like, I don't have a problem, and then it just implodes, and you know how that can just go south really fast. So, and it's funny, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, because I remember when I started dating, like I said, I was with one woman for 20 years if you round up. And I remember just dating, and a lot of women, I remember, were so accustomed to using their vibrator, I couldn't get them to orgasm. So they were just using that tool for like a year, and I'm like, well, let's work on this. And then I did some research. You had to reset the and just like stop using it for a few weeks, and let's work this out. I finally was able to get her. So it was like a goal of mine. I had to do this, man. But yeah, women, I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen this. Like, if they use toys too much, too often, it's the same thing.
Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same problem. Yeah, they're using like industrial powered jackhammers on their.
Like, come on, we can't keep up with that. Come on.
The male tongue, or the male cannot keep up with that. It doesn't have like, they don't have the function that allows it to do this. We can't like change directions and then have it vibrate and do all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's almost unfair. Like, come on, man, we can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I ain't got a problem with women. Actual fact, when women more, they tend to orgasm easier.
Okay.
However, that is with like with their hands or with a dildo. Not necessarily, not with it's the vibrators in particular that can destroy the nerves and the sensitivity around the clitoris. So especially these really, really high powered vibrators. So
yeah,
there's a balance there. But yeah, no one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about the dude stuff. No one's talking about
really
women destroying their own clitoris. Yeah.